Okay, I think we're live, everyone. All right, I'm just going to wait just a few more minutes, or not a few more minutes, probably about 30 seconds for people to kind of like lollygaggle in and get into it. Hopefully, everyone was available for the Tech Art Talk Live session earlier today when we did a broadcast of Douglas Leone interview. Now, Douglas is a very good thing, but regretfully we did encounter some audio problems. Stuff happens. I will rebroadcast that thing with much better audio. I already have a solution, and I'm already recutting it, so everything's going to be tip-top shape. So look for the announcements for the rebroadcast, because the audio quality, in my opinion, was CSC. I'm going to have much better quality posted by early this evening. So thank you very much for your patience. All right, welcome, Houdini fans out there. Welcome to another episode of Houdini Secrets Live. All right, this week what we're going to do is we're not going to go over the Douglas Leone interview. That was part of the Tech Art Talk Live session. What today we're going to work on instead is the Houdini and Niagara interface. Now this is very important because I didn't realize this, but UE4 is real heavy into integrating Niagara into its core of schemes. And it is going to be using Niagara now instead of Cascade. In fact, I looked for Cascade and it's kind of well hidden. It's kind of, you have to dig around in there in order to find out where that darn Cascade is kept. So, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go over Mike Lyndon's interface for this. The guys, the Houdini real-time team, have put together a really good package in order to get Houdini able to output point cache, points in space, and use that to pre-simulate other things, and then send that to Niagara and bring in that point cache as a JSON file. And I'm going to be going over that entire pipeline. So that's what we're going to be doing today, going over the Houdini Niagara interface, which would be very helpful. Now, I'm just learning Niagara myself. Just like all of you, gang, I've been too busy in the last year to really pay it too much attention. But now, with UE5 on the horizon and Cascade being phased out, it is time to learn. So, with that said, let's get going and learn all about how to get Houdini and Niagara talking to each other. I'm going to go ahead and shift my screen. Okay, woo, look at this. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Okay. All right, now we have things going here. All right, so there's a bunch of things that we have to consider. And one of the things is getting Houdini up to date. And you got to make sure that you have all the information for Houdini Labs. So I'm going to call up a new version of Houdini, and I'm going to create a new project. And with that new project, I'm going to make sure that the Side Effects Labs tool shelf is up to date, because this stuff is changing every single day, and you got to make sure that we get the most up-to-date information and material, because otherwise you very well could be left in the dark. All right, it's also probably about 90 degrees in my broadcast suite, and it's very hot, so I had to get naked. So I guess that's a new thing. Doing Houdini naked is the new catchphrase. All right, so let's go ahead and create a brand new project. I'm going to go with a Houdini file, and then go to new project, and I'm going to set my destination. Set it to some place where you remember where you can find it in the future, and I'm going to put this with my broadcast information. So it's not with my typical stuff. Here it is, broadcasts. Okay, Houdini Live. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. You got it. Okay, and there we have our foliage demo. and we're all finished with our foliage demo. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make this my home folder. Oops. Okay, I'm just going to grab that path, cancel, put that in there, broadcasts, and then I'm going to call this Houdini Niagara. Alright, we've got that going. Click accept. Okay, we've created a new project. Now let's make sure that the Houdini Labs, the side effects labs, is up to date. So you do that by, I'm going to see if I can make a little bit of room. Come over here to the little shelf tab and hit the plus, and then look for, go to shelves and move that over and look for side effects labs. There we go. And a new shelf should pop up. Okay, where is my shelf? Aha, there it is. Okay, it looks like I've already got a lot of stuff on here, but I want to make sure that my tool set is up to date. So I'm going to go ahead and press my little Atari joystick. Yeah, for those of you who don't know what that is, that's like ancient controller talk, yeah, before the Nintendo Switch, you know, before that. It was release 297. Okay, so that's a pretty old release, and I'm going to go all the way up to 521, which is the most recent release, and then I'm going to click update, and it's going to whirl, it's going to spin, it's going to have a hissy fit, and it's going to sneak along quietly as if nothing's going on. Okay, not responding. Well, so that means that something's going on here, which is a good sign. Okay, side effects labs updated says please restart Houdini to load all the new engine tools. Okay, so let's go ahead and click OK, and I'm going to just get out of Houdini, and everything should be up to date. I'm going to go ahead and save and quit. And I'm going to save this to my job folder, and I'm going to call this Houdini Niagara Demo. Alright, with that said, let's go ahead and go into Epic Games, and let's create a brand new UE4 project. And so what you typically do is go ahead and go to launch, and this would launch the 425. Let's see if this can do it fast. My machine is like really slow, and I'm trying to debug why it's so slow. But hopefully this comes up quickly. If not, I just might have to just get out of this because we've got other things to do than wait around and get old with this stuff. Well, we are waiting. And we are waiting. Aha, there's my Unreal Editor popping up. Okay, and I can see that this is going to take its very good old time. So I'll show you how to create a brand new project in case you need to know. But I've already created a project ahead of time. I was sneaky. Yeah, look at that. It's taking its good old time. So hopefully your system runs a lot faster than mine, because we aren't getting any younger here, and we're stuck on 45%. $75%. There it goes. Come on, you can do it. We all have faith. Well, it knows that we're live, so that's why it's suffering some stage fright right now. It's going on inside of its head. Oh, what if I look bad? Almost there. Come on. Come on, bad boy. So what we're going to do is create a kind of brand new third-person project. So what you would do for this case, go ahead and just click Games, click Next, and then click Third-Person Project, Next, and then put it, just like we did with the Houdini project when we put in its destination, type in your destination, and then go into project. If you don't know where it is, click on this little three thick buttons, and then you can choose which folder that you want. And in this case, I would want the I want my Houdini Niagara, I want my broadcast folder, because this is where I'm going to put it in. Oh, I want a UE4 folder. That's what I want. Select that, and then I'm going to call this Houdini Niagara. Okay, it already exists. Yeah, I know it, but hopefully it doesn't exist on your thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and hit cancel, because I've already created this. But I'm going back, and I'm going back, and let's see if it is in here, Houdini Niagara. Okay, suppose you went ahead and said, go ahead and make this guy. Hopefully it goes open and then opens for yours. And regretfully, hopefully what we're going to do is open it. And let's see if it opens. All right. Okay, yeah, there it is. Yay! It opened. Okay, what we need to do is, there is a version of the Houdini Niagara plugin already in place, shipping with 425. However, it's no good. They don't like him. He's bad. So, what we're going to do is, once we've got this project created, go ahead and kill Houdini Niagara again. Kill this project. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hunt down where our version of UE4 is actually kept. And in my case, I don't store it on the C drive because I've run out of space on my C drive. And so I store it someplace else. And here it is, games, UE4. Here's 4 is 25. Look at where it says engine, and then plugins, and then FX. Okay, I've already go ahead and remove it. Now, if this is the first time you do it, you probably have a file in there. It says Houdini Niagara. Go ahead and remove this. Go ahead and hit delete. And if you must, go ahead and hit Control X, and then go to some place temporary, and go ahead and post it there. I've got a temp folder sitting on this drive, and just in case something goes, I'm going into plugins. Nope, the wrong one. UE4 plugin, engine, binary source. No, you can tell I do this a lot. Houdini Niagara, here we go. Here it is, I just stored it right here, just so that it wouldn't get into habit. And if something happened, I could just go ahead and put it back into place. So, with Houdini Niagara removed from UE4, what we had to do is fill it in with some good stuff. And what do we fill it in with? Well, we could do a bunch of things, but what we're going to do is we're going to go to GitHub. And GitHub is going to give us some good stuff. Look at that. All right, here we go. Here is what we're doing at. So look at this folder right here. This is github.com/side effects/Houdini Niagara /releases/tag 4.25. And here it is. This is created by Dubernuit. I'm afraid, Damien Pernuit. I do not know him. I have yet to work with him. He's probably a really awesome, really nice guy. And so what you're going to do is, instead of worrying about having to compile all the source code yourself, just go ahead and click either the Houdini Niagara for Mac OS or the Houdini Niagara for Windows. I'm going to go ahead and click that for Windows, and it's going to download, and it's going to say, hey, I already got a copy of this because I just downloaded it beforehand, just to make sure that the link was working. All right. So while that's downloading, we're going to download the new plugin, and it's going to be really good. Okay, once it's downloaded, then what you're going to need to do is go ahead and expand it. So I'm going to go to my file browser, I'm going to go to downloads, and there it is, my Houdini Niagara 425, Windows. Okay, I'm going to double click this, and I'm going to unzip this. And where to unzip it to? I'm going to unzip it to, let's do it to the Houdini project, just so it's all in one place, so I know it's like coming from Houdini and I'll know where to get it next from. And so KBB, and I'm going into broadcasts, Houdini Niagara. Oh, that's a, oh, that's where my foliage is. Is that where my, okay. It created it in the wrong place. I'm going to go ahead and move this over there. I accidentally created it in the wrong location, so it's there. And so, oh yeah, so here it is, my Houdini Niagara. I'm going to drop it in there, and I am going to just drop it right in here. Oops, the Houdini Niagara. I want to go unzip. Okay, it is unzipping. Very good. Alright, now we see we have a folder here in my Houdini Live project, my Houdini Niagara. I double click into here, and I'm just going to go back up, and I'm just going to grab my whole Houdini Niagara folder that I just unzipped, hit Control C. Now I'm going to go back to my games folder where I have my version of UE. Know what I'm going to do? I lied. I'm going to go, well, you could do this, and for some reason mine isn't working, but this worked on my other machine, so I'm going to show you what to do. I'm going to go into my UE425, go into the engine folder, go into plugins, FX, and right where it says Niagara and Niagara Extras, I'm going to hit Control V, and I'm going to paste the plugin that was in there. Now you could do it here, or what you could do is, if you didn't want to put the Houdini Niagara plugin inside of the UE4 installation, what you could do is install it to the actual project itself. So I'm going to go to my project. UE4, Houdini Niagara, there it is. There's my project. I'm going to go to plugins, and I'm going to paste it right into here. And it's going to say replace the file. Yeah, yes, go ahead and replace it. Okay, so there we have Houdini Niagara inside of my plugins. Pretend you didn't see this Houdini Niagara demo. It's not supposed to be there yet. But if you might have to go ahead and create a plugins folder on your own. So if you need to, beforehand, just go new, folder, and then you can type in plugins and go ahead and drop it into there. So that's what I did, was I dropped it into my plugins folder. Excellent. Now what we have to do is, once we've got the plugin, then we're going to download some sample files. Now the good folks at Side Effects Labs have created some good stuff for us. And if you go to their page, Houdini to UE4's Niagara, there's the installation. And so they basically have a bunch of videos here that go over a lot of it, what I'm going to go over today. Mike Lyndon created this. Thank you very much, Mike Lyndon. We are much obliged to you. And here's another place where you can download the Houdini Niagara plugin, other than the GitHub site. But what we really want here are the sample files. So go and click sample files, and then we'll go in and download this, and then you can go to this and say download. There's a bunch of really groovy stuff that we can go and test to make sure that Houdini and Niagara are talking to each other in a friendly sort of way. Okay, this is downloading, but I was sneaky and I already downloaded it ahead of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my downloads folder, and there is my Houdini Niagara. No, it's just called Houdini Niagara. Double click that, and then unzip this. And I'm going to just unzip this also to the project to just have so that it's in one location. There we go. I'm going to go to my Houdini projects, broadcasts, Houdini Live, Houdini Niagara, and here's the Houdini Niagara, and let's just bop it right in there. So the destination is a subfolder of a source folder. Okay, cancel. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bop it in right here. And there's the copy. Okay, so I duplicated this. But I'm going to go into the copy. And okay, now this is the, now what we have is a copy of, this is, look at what we got here. Is this a copy of, it is. Okay, so looks like I uncopied the wrong thing. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my downloads. Alright, here it is, Houdini Niagara. And hopefully this is it. And I'm going to unzip this. And then I'm going to send it to my Houdini folder again. Alright, where is it? Alright, here we go, D. Alright, I got there. Broadcast, Houdini Live, Houdini Niagara. Okay, Houdini Niagara, I'm going to use this as my folder. Unzip. Okay, yeah, so what this did was this created another folder here. We're called Houdini Niagara. And inside of that folder, there is a HIP file and a new Houdini Niagara demo file. So what we're going to do is grab this folder that says Houdini Niagara Demo 2020. I'm going to copy that. And it looks like this installed right over the plugin. So here it is. Copying things over in a bad location. Okay, sue me. Alright, so what we're going to do is go over here to the broadcast, the UE4, and go to my plugins and paste it right along there with the Houdini Niagara plugin. So there now should be two plugins for the Houdini Niagara folder. And one is the Houdini Niagara and one is the Houdini Niagara Demo 2020. This is all the stuff that we're going to need. Okay, we've got that going. So, once that's all copied in place into UE4, the UE4 plugins has two plugins installed into it. We're going to return back to UE4, and then we are going to go into our Houdini Niagara project. And yes, most of what we'll be going over today is just all this kakamaka of moving files around and so forth. Okay, first what we have to do is make sure that the Houdini Niagara plugin is plugged in and that what we have is actually working. So come over here to Edit, Plugins, and now pull this, okay, look over here at FX. If one of the things that you copied, it was successfully picked up into the engine, it would be here. Okay, it's not there, so I have a hunch it's probably here. Aha, there it is. At the bottom where it says Project, there's FX and Other, because we installed it into the Project folder. If I click Enabled, okay, plugin is might be unstable. You should want it. Yes, we did. And okay, no, I don't want to restart now because I'm going to click over here to other and make sure that the Houdini Niagara demo 2020 is also turned on. Okay, we've got that turned on. I'm going to go ahead and click restart, and then UE4 is going to restart. Okay, are these actually engaged? This is turned on, yes. This is turned on. Okay, we should be good to go. Now, one more last thing to check is we can check to make sure that the Houdini foils are actually available to us. So we can double check this by opening the browser here. And we don't have, okay, look at this, Houdini content, Houdini C++ classes, here it is. This is the stuff we're looking for. Okay, these are the three things that we want and need, and hopefully everything is kosher and copacetic. If not, what you would have to do, if it's not showing up here, go into View Options, and then go in where it says Show Plugin Content. Okay. Show Plugin Content. There it is. It's showing here. And content. Alright, so it should show up there. If not, you might need to scroll down and find out a little bit where it is. But it should be, these three files are what you need, and hopefully they're showing up. Now with that said, we are ready to rock and roll. Alright, so let's just test, just to make sure that Houdini and Niagara do have a sufficient context. So when you have this already turned on, so what we are going to do is we're going to go to the Houdini Niagara demo 2020 content. We're going to click that, and what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the content folder into the maps. And then we're going to drag window levels equals true. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up the levels browser in this. So I'm going to go to window here, and then where it says levels, okay, we've got that going. I'm going to park that right in here. So what I'm going to do is I've got Houdini Niagara Nebulous, and I'm going to drop that under the persistent level. And I'm going to drag this right into here. Okay, he doesn't want to go. It's freaking out. We're frozen here. Okay. Yes, we've officially made UE4 stop. Don't you love live demos? Most unpredictable things are going to happen. Okay, UE4 is still thinking about what's going on. Something's happening. There it is. Houdini Niagara Nebulous is there. And look at that. We've got a vector thingy. Looks kind of like a sea sponge or something. But hopefully this is turning up for you. We've got the Houdini Niagara Nebulous showing up here, and this is all particles created in Houdini and drawing into Niagara and making life interesting. Okay, we've got this part of the working, and so the Houdini to Niagara plugin is sufficiently working. Alright, so we are good to go. So let's go and expand that just a little bit further and actually get stuff going from Houdini into our project. So I'm going to just temporarily stow this, and then I'm going to go back to Houdini, and I'm going to open up the project. And then we're going to play with some of the stuff that Side Effects has included along with us. Oh boy. So what we're going to be looking for is the fluid splat walkthrough. So I'm going to go to File first. I'm going to go to Set Project, and I'm going to navigate down to my location. Alright, it should be here. Broadcast, Houdini Live, Houdini Niagara, accept. Alright, cool. And now what I'm going to be looking for is the fluid splat walkthrough. So it should be in that information. So let's go to File, Open, and it's in this Houdini Niagara, and it should be under the HIP folder. So I contact HIP, and it looks like that is the fluid splat walkthrough, and that's the scene that we want. I'm going to click Accept, discard, and open. All right, so we're going to wait for this to come through. Okay, as you can see, some of this stuff has been deprecated and it's already old. And so this is why we got to keep on updating things. So let's go ahead and play this to see what happens. Okay, it looks like this brave, stalwart Houdini warrior is getting pummeled with virtual water. Okay, so that's what we're going to do, is we are going to export all of this pummeled water into UE4 Niagara. All right, excellent. So if we go up here, up to the object import, what we're going to want is the age and the life parameters. So click on the geometry spreadsheet. Let's see if we got the particles here. We've got the splatter. Aha. Okay, splatter. Here's the age. You know, we're definitely going to need this parameter, and maybe that there is a life parameter also. All right. Let's see. Do we have that? Let me check. I know we need age. So let's see. Is there a life parameter? Nope. I don't see it. Okay, I think that comes in a little bit later, so, there it is, life. Okay, it's there. And so we have age and we have life. Not age. Alright, we've got both of those, so we're good to go. So these are the parameters that we're going to need, and so we are good. So what we're going to do is come back over here. And so here's our splatter node. And what I'm going to do is, since this is a good anchor point, I'm going to go and drop in a Houdini Side Effects Labs Niagara ROP. And just drop that right in here. So I'm going to go Niagara ROP. Okay. Click that into the null, and I'm going to say to Houdini Niagara. Awesome. And then I'm going to go ahead and since this is only going to frame 100, I'm going to go ahead and delete this end frame. Don't want them, don't like them. Put it in as 100 since it's only going to 100. Oh, actually, just this is since this is simple, we're only going to go make sure that the pipeline works. So we're only going to do 10 frames. So I'm going to just go hit 10. So just to make sure that everything is working. And so for my output path, I'm going to make sure that it's going to my export file. So it is clicking here. Go to job. Okay. It doesn't know what my job is. So I'm going to click over here. So I'm going to cancel. I'm going to make sure that it knows that my job is this. Set project. Houdini Niagara. Accept. I'm going to come back over here. No, let me do this. Okay, good. Now I'm going to go to export. Well, looks like there's no export folder. That's okay. What we're going to do is we are going to create a new export folder. So click this, new directory, export. All right, and then what I'm going to do is export this as $os.hjson. Now we're not, HJSON is not an abbreviation for Howard Johnson. HJSON. All right. $S, HJSON. Click accept. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'll save this as, and I'm going to go to job, and here is fluid spec walkthrough. I'm going to label this as demo. So I know that's where it came from. I'm going to go ahead and click this, put the display onto it, and then I'm going to hit render. All right. Now let's take a look at what was created here. I like to use Sublime. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this. I'm going to go File, Open File, and Houdini Live. There we go. Houdini Niagara, Export. There it is, to Houdini Niagara.hjson. Okay, so this is a big file, and it's got lots of gobbledygook in here. So it's got a whole bunch of stuff in here. And this is all the particle information that we just saw there for 10 frames. Kind of big. Kind of a good thing that we only wrote out 10 frames, because otherwise this would have. But this JSON file is really cool because it's written in ASCII. We could go in there and start dorking around with some of the values. And we could even author some of this content dynamically. So this is really cool. All right, everything seems to be in order. So let's go ahead and then return and then export this onto the big scale. And so I'm going to say HBJSON. And so what it means is going to export it as a Houdini binary JSON. And I'm going to set the end frame to 100. I'm going to file, save. All right, now I'm going to render this and I'm going to let it pump for a while. Now this does take a little bit longer, and it's a good thing we're writing it out to binary, because if we were writing this out as ASCII, this would take a long time. All right, we're good. All right, we should be good to go with Houdini. So I'm going to go ahead and store that, and I'm going to open up my UE4 project. So here we go. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up to the starter content. Okay, I'm going to make sure, I'm going to go here to up the content here. Very good. I don't want to update to this demo folder. Done that before, I made a mistake. Okay, I'm going to call this, right click a new folder called Houdini Demo. Houdini, let's call it the Houdini Niagara demo, as if we didn't know what we were doing. Houdini Niagara demo, and then I'm going to import the HBJSON file. Okay, import to Houdini demo, okay, broadcast, all right, Houdini Live, Houdini Niagara, export. And there is my HB.json file, significantly larger. Click OK. And there it is. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is, with this here, to Houdini Niagara, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new Niagara system here. So I'm going to right-click in here, go to FX, and I want a whole new Niagara system. And then I'm going to call this Fluid Splat System. Fluid Splat System. Okay. We've got the fluid splat system going at it. Got to double click to go inside of it. And this is not what we want. Where is all of my effects? Premiere parameter collection instance. That's not what you want. I somehow created the wrong thing. I'm going to delete that. Let's do it right this time. Yep, there it is. Grab the wrong thing. Niagara system. Alright. Now, okay. So we're going to go ahead and create an empty system. So, create a new system from selected vendor. No. Copy from it. Create empty system. That's what we want, gang. There, select this. Finish. Okay, now let's call this Fluid Splat System. Alright, I'm going to double click that. Holy slowness. Okay, there we go. Drop into system. Okay. So what we have to do now is where it says, alright, so we're up here, and what we want to do is, we don't have an emitter. We've got the system in here, we've got everything else, but we don't have an emitter. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit plus track, and then I'm going to go emitters, and where is the Burst Spark Houdini, and what we want is the Houdini Niagara Basic. Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, that'll work out fine for us. So it's coming. Man, we're going to go old here. I got to figure out why my system is so darn slow. And this is unworkable. Hello? Computer? 10 points to anyone who can figure out that reference. I'm really dating myself. Aha! There it is. Aha! There we go. We are ready to rock and roll. So we have our Houdini Niagara point system in there, and we are ready to go. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go to the system settings here, and we're going to create a global variable here. I'm going to hit plus, and then I'm going to add a Houdini point cache information. So I'm going to have to search for this. Houdini point cache information. Okay, so we've got Houdini point cache information, and this is going to be a new user, Houdini ID, and then so what we're going to do is we're going to change, let's see, do we have anything to go in there yet? I do not know. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the name. Aha! Where it says here, let's call this Houdini Cache. Okay, system exposed parameter was renamed Houdini cache. Okay, this is important because we're going to come back to this at some time in the future. But now that we know that this is the object that we want, and we've sufficiently renamed it. Okay, so now we've got that. So what we have to do now is we have to go through and make sure that all of our stuff is looking properly. So what we're going to do is add Fluid Demo 2 into our system. So we're going to go into Fluid Splat System. System setting Houdini point cache asset, and then the asset equals, let's type this in. Alright, we got fluid splat, that's what we want. Okay, fluid splat, okay, we've got that going. Now what we have to do is propagate this. This is our system settings right now. I have to propagate this to all of the parameters in here. Now this is going to have to be had. Now just as a reminder, this is the emitter, and the emitter is broken up according to color code, according to functionality. So orange pertains to the emitter, and green pertains to the particle. And what we're going to have to worry about is spawning the particle and updating the particle, as well as spawning our emitter and then updating our emitter. So here we have our Houdini Niagara, and so we're going to go to the spawn particles from Houdini point cache. So spawn particles from here, and we don't want P on surface. We want our what we created before. I think that's a splat. So let's type in fluid splat. Oh wait, what we want here is the system setting. Okay, so no, that's not what I want. I want to make sure that it's pointed towards our system setting. Okay, so I'm not going to look from there because that works, but a better way of doing it is to use this systems variable right here. And we get that by pressing this little triangle. Aha, and there it is. Houdini cache info, that's the information that we want. Okay, so whatever the Houdini cache now is pointing to, that's what we're going to get. Okay, so it's a good way of creating a global variable that can be used by a lot of things. So we've got the spawn particles from Houdini check. Now let's go ahead to our sample spawn Houdini point cache. This guy. Click on the triangle. Check. Alright, one last more. Houdini Niagara basic sample Houdini point cache. This one. Okay, so it looks like we're getting some stuff here. Alright, okay. Wow. Okay, there are the particles that we spit out, and it's going to kick out, and boom. Isn't that wonderful? Okay, so now the point cache is now playing inside of Niagara. Okay, a good time was had by all. Okay, so what we're going to do is, we've got that working, so let's create a new custom Niagara emitter. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and, I have a hunch that this is draining cycles from me. But before this was, I'm going to go ahead and hit save and compile. So it's now working. Alright, good. Alright, so we're going to go in, we're inside of our demo, and then in addition to that, we're going to create a new Niagara emitter. So I'm going to right click, FX, go Niagara emitter. And then once again, we are going to select from a new emitter from template. and we're going to want an empty one. So they've got all these other ones. If you ever have a chance to play around with it, they've got some pretty cool, basic, fundamental emitter types. They work pretty well. Play around with them, learn them, reverse engineer them. Yeah. Okay, but in this case, we're just going to want finish. We want empty, so I'm going to select empty, click finish, and then I'm going to call this Houdini Niagara. Oh. Rename. Houdini Niagara basic demo. Okay, we have our emitter. Let's drop, double click to drop into the emitter. Now notice that inside of Niagara, we don't have a system here, so this is just the emitter, so we don't have the system associated with it. Now I'm still learning the ramifications of that, but one of the things that are a difference between a system and an emitter is that the emitter doesn't have a system associated with it. Kind of makes sense. All right. But inside of this, let's go and get our Houdini house cache. So our emitter spawn, what we're going to do is we're going to add an init Houdini point cache. Hello. We got that, and I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to type in the word who. So init Houdini point cache. Look at all this Houdini stuff in here. They've really done a job on this. All right, init Houdini point cache, and then for the emitter update, we're going to kick in plus, and then we're going to spawn particles from Houdini point cache. And so we're going to want, I'm just going to type in who again, not Hugh. I actually have a sister-in-law named Hugh. But anyway, that's Houdini. And now spawn particles from Houdini point cache, select that, and we are good to go. Now from this, where it says Houdini point cache, what we're going to do is it piqued my interest earlier, so we're going to look at what P on surface looks like. So there's P on surface. Okay, there we go. And it just kind of sits there, particle sitting on the surface, not doing a whole lot. Now, but all the particles are just sitting right there and they're just spawning. So what we're going to do is we are going to get the point position from the cache. So where we go to this particle spawn, and then what we're going to do is add a Houdini point cache asset to the particle spawn. So click on this, and I'm going to ask for who, and then sample spawn Houdini point cache. Okay, and then I'm going to get the P on surface here, just so it's the same as the other one. Alright, still nothing good. Okay, so let's open up the particle attributes and hook it up so that this works right. So what we have to do is get our information. It's currently sitting in the point cache here, it's in this, but those attributes have to be transferred over to the emitter. So drag in particles. Alright, open particle attributes, drag particle attributes. Alright, there's the particle attributes, and now where's position? There it is. And we're going to drop this on the particle spawn. Position, and drop this on particle spawn. And then the thing is, we have to make sure that this is the last attribute. Because if it's not going to work. Okay, set particle position. Okay, good. Now it's still not, this is just an attribute, so what we have to do is make sure that this is it. So drag particles and Houdini position, here we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to drop set this on position engine owner right over that. So now it says particles Houdini position. And look at that. Now our particles are being positioned on what we bring in from our Houdini point cache. And that's really all that it does. We're saying, okay, what we're doing is we are spawning particles wherever we put, whatever we output for Houdini into the particle cache. Okay, let's add a little bit of animation to this. Okay, so that would be done in the particle update. So I'm going to go ahead and add another point cache information. So I'll look for who point cache. All right, sample point cache information here. And we got to make sure that it's above solve forces and velocity. So here's the thing to remember. When you're working with Niagara, the order of these modules is very sensitive. It's a little bit like the old modules in Cascade, of where the vertical orientation does have a significant impact. Okay. And so this is definitely the last attribute. Now we're going to go from here, we're going to go drag particles, Houdini position, and we're going to end this over, and the drag particles, drag onto the position engine owner position. Okay. Okay, Houdini point cache. I have a hunch. Oh. Okay. So here we have a point cache. Okay, what I forgot to do is make sure that it's P on surface. So P on surface. Okay, I did things a little bit out of order. Now I'm going to have to do the exact same thing what we did for the particle spawn, where we put the particle position on here. We're going to have to do the same thing for the update state. So we're going to grab particle positions. Drag that onto particle update. Okay, let's see, we've done this already. Okay. Okay, sample Houdini point cache. Sample. I have a hunch that this is not correct. So let me go ahead and, for the particle updates, sample Houdini point cache. Yeah, this is the one we're looking for. Okay, so we got the sample Houdini point cache. Make sure it's above false and velocity. Okay, Houdini point cache asset, P on surface. Now we're going to drag particles. And what we're going to do is drag it on here. And we're going to make sure this is the last. Alright, so this is going to be the last one. Make sure that, and now we're going to do the update Houdini position onto here and put that right into there. Now it's thinking. That's still thinking. Compiling. Okay, well, at least we know something's happening. Yeah, look at that. It's now wherever we had the emitter at the source there, it's now emitting particles. Okay, that's cool. So things are working well. Albeit a bit slow, things are working well. So let's go ahead and bring in just a wee bit of color. So on this particle update, along with the position, what we're going to do is add a color module. So click plus, and then add color. Okay, it's beneath the solve for forces and velocity. Okay, now color, and we had to do make linear color from vector float. So let's type in here, make linear color from vector and float. There we go. All right. So there we have make linear color from vector and float. And then the vector particle should be particles Houdini color. So let's pull that down and let's look for who. And Houdini color. Particles Houdini color. There we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is taking the particle information from Houdini that is stored inside of the particle system, and now it's being put inside of the particle, and that's what we see here. And so here we have is our emitters putting stuff out. Kind of looks like cotton candy a little bit. All right, so this is cool. So this is basically, what we have to do in order to instantiate a Houdini basic demo emitter. Now we've got that. Let's go ahead and create a custom attribute and for module. So what we're going to do is we're going to return to our fluid system, and we're going to create a custom module in order to handle all this Houdini stuff. I'm going to go ahead and save and compile this before it goes away. All right, so I'm going to return back to my, okay, it's still saving, so, all right, is it done yet? Okay, thank you. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I've got this going, so we're going to return to this. Let's go back to Houdini, to our fluid splat walkthrough. All right, so we're going to kill the points after the collision. So we've got a group SOP. So notice here that when we animate, the points just kind of hang around here. So what we're going to do is we're going to kill the points once they have hit the ground. But we have to tell, since this is being done inside of Niagara and not inside Houdini, Niagara doesn't really understand Houdini. We have to sneak in some information and put in things inside of attributes which will go into Niagara, and then from Niagara we can tell Niagara what to do with these particle attributes. So what I did here was I've got a group SOP coming right after this. And if we click on this, what we have here is that while the particles are in the box, they're good to go. But as soon as the particles are touching the box or go outside the box, then they are considered no longer as part of the group. And so once it touches the box or leaves the box, it exits the group. So that's fine, but we have to kind of tell it that we want this information. So let me here is get the group. Okay, and it's just being called group 1. Alright, I'm just going to leave it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm going to go and pump this into a point wrangle. And we've got the point wrangle in here. And then we're going to create a new integer attribute inside of vex. It's called dead. And then we're just going to set it equal to 1. So basically, if we stop this on certain particles, some particles are going to be 0, they're not going to have anything, and other ones are going to be called dead. If we look at our geometry spreadsheet, and this is for an attribute for some points. Boy, we've got a lot of information here on points, but look up DEAD. All right, looks like some of the particles there are 1. And some of the particles have a value of 0. So that means that they are not dead. And those are the particles that are still active. And I'm sorry, did I say that we were using that? Okay, so what we're doing is not group 1. I forgot. Very important distinction. So what we're saying is not group 1. So if it's not in the group, mark it dead. And being inside of the group means, all right, everything inside of the box. So basically, if it's not inside the box, then get rid of it. Okay, then what we have to do is write out a point cache. So we've got to create a version of this. And then we've got that. And so I'm going to create a fluid demo on here. So it's going to come up with a point wrangle here. And all in lowercase. I've got a fluid demo. Oops. And just because we created this new attribute doesn't mean it gets included automatically. So what we're going to have to do is make sure that dead is now included on these keep attributes, because these are the attributes that are going to go over to Niagara. So make sure that dead is part of the spiel. So go ahead and I'm going to click fluid demo, and then I'm going to write out so I know that this is going to be different. What do we call this? Oh, let's call this dead splat. Dead splat. Okay, going against the grain. I might pay for this in the future, but I don't like to be confused. So I click this, click render, F start to 100. Okay, from frame 1 to 100, click render. Alright, now it's going to output our dead splat HBJSON. Alright, it's percolating along. Now, I wouldn't have thought this machine was getting old, but it really does seem to be moving on in its years. All right, cool. Written now. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. All right, we've got that. Okay, let's go back to UE4. So, in UE4, where is UE4. Here we go. I'm going to go back to here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and import into game. And there's dead splat. Okay. Open dead splat. Okay, let's double check to make sure that dead splat has the information we're looking for. Okay, so if we go with this attribute array, open that up there. There it is, dead. D-E-D-A-D. Dead. Okay, it's good. It is contained. We are good to go. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and close this up again so we know that this file is good. So, let's go back to our fluid splat system, and now let's go and update this fluid splat system, this system setting, and this Houdini cast. Instead of fluid splat, we want our fluid, we want our, let's see, it's called dead splat. Yeah, we want dead splat. And let's animate that. Everything looks fine, but we now know that it has the dead attribute associated with it. So we are good to go. Now, the particles don't disappear because, like I said, Houdini knows what to do when you kill an object, but Niagara doesn't. So we have to teach Niagara what to do in order when it gets the dead variable. And so we have to create a custom module in order to create that. So let's go back up into here, and boy, we're getting a lot of systems here. I'm going to save this. So if something bad happens, I see all these little little stars here. I'm going, ooh, playing with fire. So this to Niagara. Let's open this. Make sure it's saved. Very good. Double click dead splat. Save. Alright. Now I know nothing bad's going to happen. So let's go ahead and create a new FX Niagara module script. So here's your opportunity to create a new module script for Niagara. And we're going to call it Sample Custom Houdini Attribute. Sample Custom Houdini Attribute. Alright, we've got the Houdini custom attribute going there. And let's expose this. Alright, but before we do anything, we have to make sure that this is usable by our library. So let's go ahead and click on to expose to library. Click that. Okay, expose to library. That's good. I just get into the habit of saving and compiling because it's just an old habit of mine. Alright, now here we are. We get to configure this however we want to now. So map get is going to get us some information, and we want some point cache information. So we're click on this little plus dealio here, and here's our options, and we're going to look for a Houdini point cache and Houdini point cache info. That's exactly what we want. And so that's a little, that name is a little bit verbose. And so I'm just going to call this Houdini cache. Okay, and it was only used in this one. Okay, that's good, that's fine. And so what we're going to do here is, let's see. Now what we've got to do is we've got to get point attribute value by spring. Okay, get, so I think what we have to do here is click over here and get point attribute at time. So get point alpha at time? No, that's not quite what we want. Okay, so do I gotta add one more of these little map get? So let's see if we have to do this get. No, append get point value at time by spring to Houdini cache. Okay. Oh, we have to do is we're gonna have to create a new attribute here. And so it's a point attribute, so a particle attribute here. Yeah, it's an emitter attribute to the Houdini cache. And so what we want to do is add Houdini cache, okay. And so let's click this and then get point. Nope, that's not what we're looking for. Okay, the Houdini cache. Alright, Houdini cache and get point value at time by string. Houdini point cache information, get point color at time, get point value at time. How about it? Let's have it get point value at time by string. Here it is, baby. Okay. Only took us forever, but sometimes it happens that way. Alright, get point value at time by string, and of course we know the attribute that we want is did. So we knew that was coming. So did. Alright, now what we're going to have to do is the particle attributes. What we're going to do is we're going to create a brand new particle attribute, and we're going to need an integer for this particle attribute, and we're going to need an int 32. And for this int, we're going to call it a nid. And then for the namespace, we're going to, that's not what I wanted. Oh, come on, you bad boy. Rename. I'm going to call it nid. Alright. And now I'm going to right click onto this and then change namespace modifier, custom, and I'm going to want this to be Houdini. Okay, so now it's in the Houdini namespace so that we know it is a Houdini job. Alright, now we have here map get. So what we're going to do is we need to get this information, so we're going to add existing parameter. And then here's our particles Houdinis that are nid. So that's coming in there, and that information is going to get put right into point ID. Alright, we've got information going into the point cache. We've got information from our nid going in there. So now all we have to do is worry about time. Okay, so what we're going to do is add one more. We're going to look for a common particle attribute. Well, there's lots of them. Okay, what we're going to look for is engine constant emitter age. Okay, do we have emitter age, engine constant? There it is, emitter age. And now all I have to do is just hook that onto there and hook it up at the time. Okay, very good. So now we've hooked it up to time. So we're all cooked up here. Let's make a little bit of room for ourselves. Okay, so now what we got to do is sample into the new particle namespace. So where it says particle attribute, so we have here, and we're going to add one more, and we're going to add name, but this is, we're going to add dead, but it's got to come in as a float. So we're going to add just a simple float here. Float, thank you. And then we're going to add dead. Make it lowercase. Okay, so we're going to be looking for the dead attribute, and don't forget we have to give it a Houdini namespace. Click over here, change namespace modifier, custom, and call this Houdini. All right, now we're going to add in this map set, we're going to click plus here and add an existing parameter. And then we're going to get the dead attribute. Now what we're going to do is kick in this value and hook that to dead. And let's create a little bit of room here. Compile and save. Okay, almost there, gang. We've created our custom module. So let's hook it up into our system. So this is all part of the particle update because we're going to update it on a frame basis. What we're going to do is every frame, we're going to check the particle attribute and to make sure that it has the value of dead. And if it has a value of dead, then we're going to kill that sucker. Okay, we have particle update, particle attribute. All right, so here it is, particle update, and we're going to add sample custom Houdini attribute. Okay, who and sample custom Houdini attribute. All right, I think this could be right where it is. And then for this, what we need is the Houdini cache. All right, so I'm going to click this, and this is the Houdini cache. So whatever is coming through, that's coming through, and we got that. And remember, did we change this one to the dead splat? Yeah, so dead splat's being now passed on to all of these. So let's go ahead then and just kill it. So in the particle update, click plus yet once again, and search for a kill particles module. There it is. Kill particles. Whoops. There's our kill particles. And so we're going to have to turn this on. Kill particles. Set bool. Okay, what we're going to do is set bool by float comparison. So that means we're going to put in an expression. So set bool by float comparison. Okay, and all we have to do is say, click on here and put for A, look for particles Houdini dead. There it is, particles Houdini dead. There we go. All right, now let's go ahead and hit play. And now we see our particles as soon as they hit the ground or they hit a collision or go out of our otherwise volume, they go ahead and die. Okay, that pretty much save and compile. Don't forget to save and compile, gang. Don't get lazy. All right, cool. That's it. About it as far as I wanted to cover as far as the Houdini Niagara integration. Now I know this doesn't really teach you much about Niagara in itself. Those are for other lessons, but since this is a Houdini Secrets Live conversation and not a UE4 Secrets Live conversation, there's other places where you can get Niagara resources. But if that's something that you really want, then contact me, and then we can have a special Niagara class just for the Tech Art Talk. And that's something that I think would be worthwhile if there is enough interest for it. So if you want a Niagara lesson on what to do with just Niagara in itself, then contact me at the Tech Art Talk or Tech Art EDU. It's either on YouTube or on Facebook or on LinkedIn, Tech Art EDU, and give me some confirmation. Contact me. Tell me what you want. And if that's something that you want, then we'll put something together. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming at you. And so if this is something that you want, I'll be happy to kind of schedule it in. All right, let me close these and make sure that they are all good. And let's see if we've got our fluid splat system. And there we go. All right, cool. Now, next week for Houdini Secrets Live, I understand that there is a need for some very interesting digital asset interface specialization. So, digital assets are really, really powerful in Houdini. However, not everyone knows how to fully use its interactivity. So what I'm going to do next week is have a special session just on digital asset interface. And this will help expose this. I was kind of motivated and inspired by Douglas's interview this morning. And so what I'm going to do is go with the flow on that and have a special session just on digital asset interface. Now, if there are other additional topics that you're looking for Houdini Secrets Live, please feel free to contact me at all those locations, but check out Tech Art EDU either on YouTube, Niagara, LinkedIn, or on Facebook, and contact me there, or just Chris Rhoda on all of those locations. Contact me, tell me what you're thinking, and I'll be happy to comply. Well, thank you very much for your time and your patience today. It was a lot of fun. We got a feet wet with Niagara. Hopefully this is going to be the start of a beautiful relationship. So for Tech Art EDU and Houdini Secrets Live, thank you very much for your time, and I bid you adieu until next week. Have a great weekend.